I'll keep pushing it to its functioning limit and make it work. And good morning, y'all out there on YouTube. Also, this gets embedded to our website. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Pretty easy price action. I think this is going to be a good fan line day for our 5-second chart. We'll actually have some good range and good setups. Just about down to that regression line. Well, previous regression line. That's going to be an extension now. There's your retracement target. Broke through that after rejecting this guy up here. Pretty easy shot. Now we got range. Here's your 50% right back to it. And then you've got a quick pullback. And watch for accumulation here. We could get a quick 1-for-1 right up to angular again. And let me throw that out. White line. Change this one to blue. Cool, double bottom. Watch this. This is your R1 now too. Double bottoms are great. However, they're not biased. They are pretty much neutral until they break. So you've got a trend here. You got L1, H1, L2. When it approaches H1 is where you watch the critical. Watch for a bar through that. There we go. Now we're likely to get our 1-for-1. There are also control candles in any trend before a double bottom that you pay attention to. I'm going to use my cursor because I don't want to draw my chart up too much, but this is your control bar. That's your target 1 after your H1 break. So 412 is the exact number there. And if it rejects anywhere at there or before there, watch for a quick pullback to regression, which is right here back to R1 or H1. In this case, it looks like we get follow through, but wait for this to print. Yep, spinner, evening star, 8-period test. Next candle will either eat this up or break over. Boom, ate it up. We're running for the full 1-for-1. Holding the 8. And I use that 8-period moving average to gauge the exact moment when a trend breaks. And then I can use all the fan lines I want to plot about where I think they will have a reaction. And then also consider this as well. Always bisect between 2 points. Tested to 20, broke the 8, but we still are within this bisection line, or regression line as we call it. 1-for-one's completed mostly, and then this is the extension. Watch it break over and test regression from here. Actually, it might not, because here we have yet another little double bottom and a wedge break. So now maybe we will draw this. Wedge break, run into this angular, probably meet about 412.35 if it gets past this guy. Love watching these get completed and pull right back. This is the kind of price action that makes trading futures on a 5-second chart easy. When you can get every fan line, nail every target, know exactly where the pullbacks are coming, know where your momentary support and resistance lines are, and know exactly what to expect. So if we get a 1-for-1 bear move, we go right down here to about 411.50. Don't forget to bisect that. So I'm going to drag this down here, borrow it. Damn near. And of course, our previous angular extension from that descending wedge becomes our support line on the 1 minute chart. Which didn't quite get a wick to. All right. All right, looks like Silvergate didn't quite break 68 cents or $1.68. That was kind of this expected range here. But it did pull back right to the regression line. We'll see if we get a quick push through there or not. It may or may not trend from here. And then another one I'm watching, American Airlines. Expecting a pullback on that. And in this channel is where it should stay. If that's a bear flag, we get a 1-for-1 down here. That thing goes to 1150. But if we get accumulation here and a reversal, we could possibly get through resistance there. So this becomes our target. This becomes our first target. And then we got some short-term stuff in here. Oops, SPY's breaking our angular. And we pretty much knew it was likely to come at some point today and test this 411 area, top of our liquidity zone. This is it. Let's see if we hold here and bounce, or if we reject here and break over. The reversal I'm looking for on American Airlines is just a big old inverse head and shoulders, but these can often turn into bear flags, so it's time to be kind of aware of that, knowing that 1353 is critical support. Well, 1350 I'll mark it. And if it can't hold that, this will definitely be a bear flag and it'll rip lower. And then watch the 1335 break to confirm it. Otherwise, it can bounce here and start ripping back up. We'll see what happens. All right, back to our previous extension. Test, there's a quick fan line to be found here somewhere. By the time I draw it, it won't matter anymore. This guy right here. We've tested just about the top of that liquidity zone. Coming back across the angular here. Let's make this our regression line. Adjust this out a little further. And tweak the bisect line. There we go. So if we accumulate here, we get a quick 1-for-1 back to here at about a 411.50 push. That may extend further, but we want to see what the 1 minute chart is going to tell us, if it's going to be in this range. Again, you can run a bisect line or you can run a fan line. Either way, it's going to give you the same result. And ultimately, if this, then that. So if it can break this, we get a 1-for-1 out of that, or we get a quick short-term target for a bounce, or we get a critical support line and we start testing in the liquidity zone, which, my goodness, the middle of that is 409. So if that happens, that'll be a very fast push right down to 409. Silvergate breaking over. We're testing critical support here. We may break it. And American Airlines printed a spinner down here, so we might actually get a quick retrace. About 1380. And maybe push on. I'll get that on the 1 minute so we can watch it closer. bounced off again on liquidity zone, and the 1 minute chart also has the 200 period pushing right to the edge of that liquidity zone. So 200 period is a strong moving pivot, I call it. It's either support or resistance on pretty much every time frame. And if we can't bounce here, we will be seeing a break. And we're testing the ragged edge of that thing one more time. See what the 5 minute candle tells us. Let this candle close. If we get two strong bars here, then we'll finish the trend right down to 410.15. Yeah, we're testing that. I also have an extended line here, this orange one. Points to about the same target here. Damn, we just smashed it. Let's see, 410.15 is about the bottom of this entire big bar from CPI. And it's also about where the 5 minute 200 is. We can still go to 409 from here, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so that's no longer relevant. This one I'm going to borrow. Ah, damn it. Get over there. This will become a regression line. And this will be our other fan line. We'll get rid of these two. Watch for a test and continuation in this trend or a break and a 1-for-1. Looking like we could get a tweezer bottom here too. Again, this is your control bar for that entire range. Kind of funny how this bar goes right to 410.15, and look, our wick on the 5 second chart touched 410.15 to the number. Finding this critical information fast is going to be absolutely crucial for a day trader trading this 5 second chart. Knowing where these points are is going to be your lifeblood of your trading. Alright, we still have this reaction happening here. Don't ever forget to bisect it. If this, then that. If it crosses this bisection, you got long on this cross of the regression line, cool. This will tell you whether you're going to be able to continue holding your trade or not. It will either push through it or reject and pull back. Sometimes it'll do one then the other. It'll pull back and then push through it. We've seen that repeatedly. So there's a 20 period test. Bar through the 8. Closed just above it. Likely to get continuation. Also know where your previous high was. So that's like 410.72. got to push that to remain bullish on this trend. Oh, no go. We're likely to pull back. Got about 8 seconds left on this 1 minute candle. Cool. Evening star. With a 50% retracement of the mother bar, which is here. So 410.35 is your critical support on the 1 minute chart. And the 5 second chart will tell you the same. And if we break that, we're likely to push all the way down to 409. If we can hold here, we can actually print a reversal and start climbing back out of this liquidity zone. And American Airlines just failed the critical pivot. That thing is going down. No pun intended. Let's see, where does that take our setup here? Bear flag, 1 for 1. Yeah, 1160, 1150. Very much on the board. 1165 previous low for test. And then you got a control zone here at 1220 as well. I'm going to go have a look at Google real quick. Eating up control, we're kind of in an area of 106.40. That was the split point of this trend from yesterday. We could see a bounce here. And we got tweezer on a 1 minute chart. Potential for a double bottom here on the 1 minute chart. Back to our bisect line. And actually, that's extended this way now. So your R1 is going to be about 410.70. That's just looking at your first high. So you got L1, H1, L2. There's your extension coming right up. 410.74, 410.75, somewhere in that neighborhood. Bam, nailed it. 410.74. All right, now push through. We get a 1 for 1 right up to angular. 410. I should actually drag that down a little bit, but 410.95 would be where I would expect it to go. That also looks at a push on this angular right there. Bam. 410.95 on the nose. And we're pushing. Cool. Where's our bull target? Well, top of liquidity is right here. Let's see what happens. retracement would be 411.30, just outside of liquidity, and that's half this trend. And then if we push on, we've got an extension up to about 411.95. Let's see if we can pick off a fan line from a root. How about I borrow this one? This is a tricky root right here. Just coming off of here. When you've got to be fast, you're not going to always be to the penny. You have to accept a little bit of a margin. And let me borrow. I'll delete that. I'm trying to keep my chart as clean as I can because anytime I add too many drawings, it starts to lag. I'm going to keep that one. And wherever you have divergence on a set of fan lines, always bisect them. In fact, that probably draws to another fan line root back here. Yeah, right through it. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. This area will be kind of a wait and see type of thing. We're looking for consolidation here to give us a 1-for-1 and push the extension up here at about 411.65. We're right on top or at the upper edge of our liquidity zone, so we can expect price to kind of be indecisive here for a few more bars before we can get a decision on direction. And as a matter of fact, we just got one. Right down here. Short term, this is still likely to accumulate here because we're still in the upper edge of that liquidity zone. And if we fail here and this breakout turns out to be a bear flag off of this double bottom, which it still can very much be, that gives us a quick 1-for-1. And where does this trend take us? Right to the 409. So watch your accumulation here on your 5-second chart. It's going to tell you what's going to happen long before it happens, and it'll give you a quick trade plan. So if you're not trading a 5-second chart, you can take your signals from the 5-second chart and trade the 1-minute chart. So watch that accumulation. It will probably tighten into a wedge here before it breaks. And it'll either give us a bullish 1-for-1 up to 412 or a bearish 1-for-1 down to 409. Google went right to that control zone. Unbelievable. Get enough screen time, you can plot these things very quickly and take some very advantageous day trading. And there's one other equity I want to throw down here in a moment. I want to watch this accumulation first. See, Google could set up a double bottom here, so pay attention. Either that or a bear flag. Alright, there's our fan line touch on the lower half. And this is, you got L1 here, L2 here, there's your H1. If we break L2 here, we're very likely to turn this into a bear flag and get our 1 for 1. And then you also want to pay attention to about a half for 1 too. So about 409.80 is roughly half of this move on this break. And that probably puts us right off of a fan line from here as a route. I'll just borrow this one. Dang it, bend. Don't pull the whole thing. Oh. See, that's where my chart's getting glitchy from too many drawings. Alright, to heck with you. I'll make a new one. Frustrating sometimes when you're trying to fight your chart. I had to deal with that. There's got to be some sort of issue with the cache or something where it gets glitchy like this. Oh. Check out the tweezer. Just closed. Nice. We're bulls. Watch it break liquidity. This 1 for 1 is not null, but now it's a half for 1, so we'll likely hit the regression up here if we break here. The full 1 for 1 is still up here. Man, this is getting embarrassing. So 411.70 is what I was trying to plot out. 411.75 would be the extension after a breach of our previous regression line, which actually is going to slope here. Turn the regression line into a fan line, basically. That's looking like Wu-Tang, baby. We might get a trend day after all. Critical resistance is right up ahead at about 411.15. One for 1 still puts us in range of 411.75. That's just the 1 for 1 here. And then extension would be running to about 412, and then we've got the extension all the way up here at 413. Bam, 411.24 met. Google's starting to rounding bottom a little bit. Some of the other equities are just now getting bullish. And I think AMD is going to give us an opportunity here too. Shoot for 95 bucks.
Good morning.
Morning. How goes it?
My Discord on my laptop doesn't work still. I can't do the stream. I'm on my phone right now.
Oh no.
So I gotta like uninstall it and reinstall that nonsense again.
Is it on an Apple or a PC?
It's on a PC.
Huh. I wonder if it could be like an account setting or something. Like it's going into protect mode or something. Damn, I cannot get this regression line to extend here, but it's extended here. We might get our full 1 for 1. And this old radius up here, that starts from that route. That's going to make me redraw it. Bums. Alright, let's fix that. Get rid of this. Start a new one. Stem from root. Back here. What the hell? My drawings are being weird. It's shortened the line. even after I redrew it. Lame. At least we know where they are. Let me turn this into a 30-second and I'll go get rid of a bunch of those old lines. Guess I'm going to have to. I've got way more than I think on here. I'll just get rid of that one. 3 dozen pivots. We can just use fan lines today. Hell with everything else. Alright. Now we should be able to... Yeah, there we go. Now it extended. So weird. I don't understand that. That's got to be a software issue. And maybe they'll have an update. I will shoot them a ticket because I am also a registered beta tester for Webull here, so my feedback is important to them. And if I'm front running a new edition that is not available to the general public yet, I can let them know, hey, this is being some glitchy drawing. Although it's been doing this for a few weeks now, so see if maybe I can get some previous stuff up. I have a big fan running in the background. I don't know if it's too noisy for anybody, but let me know if there's a bunch of noise in the background.
It's fine. I hear it.
Okay. Don't hear it?
Nope, nothing. It's
Awesome.
fine.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Very cool.
I've been paying attention to SIG's morning briefings and doing it with the intent of saying, I might have to explain this to someone later. And you do certainly pay attention when you actually think about it. He gives us an awful lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But sorry, my boss was asking me to do some work for the last half an hour, so it was like, come on, man.
Those pesky jobs.
I know, right?
No, he's a wealth of information, and the stuff he does with the ADRs is incredible. My brain like farted really bad with ADRs yesterday, but
I'm starting to notice as well, looking back on the notes from yesterday, what he said was pretty much held up, you know? I mean, he wasn't wrong. So I'm starting to learn now that if you all right, okay, maybe I'm going back and I'm not sort of going over my own stuff, but I'm back tracing SIGs, but I'm getting an idea of how it should work. And that when you back trace things, you start to get faith in trends, and you know, you start to see where things are going right and how trends are forming. So it's really, I've only been doing it a couple of days, but it's really quite useful.
Well, like yesterday, we did get both a trend day and a range day yesterday. It was kind of neat. I mean, it stayed in the realm of the upper half of that liquidity zone to the number, right, and then closed right about in the middle of it. So we had a trend day all morning up to the last break, and then boom, an instant retest, slight overshoot of center, and then we went right back to it, closing at about 409.80 or whatever the heck it was. And effectively, it was both a range day and a trend day. We knew where the targets were. They were pretty easy to spot. And then coming into today, we're testing yesterday's high as a support zone right now. And it's just the top edge of our liquidity, but we reached right back down to about yesterday's close, damn near. So it's pretty easy to take everything you saw happen, you know, days before, weeks before, whatever, and make relevant decisions on it. Like we have our liquidity zones from the daily chart that are just spot on. And we go back to a 5-minute chart and look, we got liquidity here temporarily on a 5-minute chart. So there's buyers here waiting in about the middle of that liquidity zone, upper half. And now we're looking for a quick retrace. In fact, I'm going to adjust this into a retrace line instead of a fan line. And let me see here, get it zeroed. So we got a retrace target about 411.95. Well, our fan line kind of puts us there as well. By the time trend gets here, 411.95. It's everything you look at from the left usually plays out on the right. And it's just, they say the market doesn't necessarily exactly repeat itself, but it does rhyme. It does get pretty damn close. And this double bottom's looking nicer by the minute. It may go so far as to test the new R1 or H1, so give a pivot about 411.15. But I think for now we're getting our 1 for 1, and that's this. 1, accumulate 1. So 411.90 to 411.95 would be the target on that. And this just became regression. That's our blue line now. Yeah, it's great when you've got a culmination of two very different methods. SIG has a very, very different method than I do. But you get the benefit of having both, and you can know a lot of the key notes from his pre-market analysis, take it right into combination with my day trading analysis, and make some very profitable trades.
Yeah, and the thing is if my analysis matches up with you and SIG's as well, then I really know I'm on the right track. You know, it's like having something validated.
Exactly. All right, I forgot to put my bisect line in here. We nailed it. Now we're pulling back for accumulation. We might finish this 1 for 1. We've got about 2/3 of it so far. And I can draw the box. Maybe it'll stay on my chart. Maybe it won't. If we take and just kind of eyeball above the pivot here. It fits. Gives us a clean 1 for 1 just off the fan lines. See, and like yesterday and the day before, I didn't really use fan lines on my 5-second chart. It was pretty much just plotting boxes. When volatility is accumulating into a slower period of volume, it almost doesn't make sense to run fan lines on those, because fan lines are designed for speed and volatility, the way I use them anyway. When you go into lower volatility, it's really much easier just to use your box method and just draw your box, figure out about where the chop is going to accumulate, and you can plot your targets that way a little more efficiently in low volatility areas. And when you think about it, the method is still the same when you use HA candles. Like, you can spot when the trend is changing. Okay, it's mostly red here, mostly green here, mostly red here, mostly green here. Red, green. So when you can plot these trends and just draw a box around them, you can just drag the box around and know where your targets are. So you can take something easy and make it even easier by using a different style of candle, especially in low volatility or low volume. Let me go back. I wonder if I can dig up yesterday's. Maybe I can do it on a 1-minute chart a little more efficiently. Zoom out, drag it over. So like yesterday was a choppy trend, right? But you still get your 1 for 1s. In fact, you got a 2 for 1 here. We got a 1 for 1 here, 1 for 1 here, 1 for 1, 1 for 1. All day long we got 1 for 1s. 1 2 for 1 and mostly 1 for 1s. And it's pretty easy to see just where the trend changes. In spite of the accumulation of your HA candles, what's the one thing you notice that gives you a really fast indicator? The 8 period. Gives you an exact break of where that trend fails and runs the other way. And then the 20 period kind of gives you a median line. So if you look at it, you can use the 20 period on a 1-minute chart as a means of identifying your 1 for 1 break or your 1 for 1 regression. So you don't always have to draw fan lines. You can just use moving averages and boxes, or you can use a different candle style. There's many, many ways to get the information you need to make very educated trades. And here, this trend was solid under that 8 period all the way down. Right on the break here. Very tricky to get a signal from that, but once it broke over and failed its previous support point, which if you just drew a pivot right here at about 410.82, you would know. Follow that trend until it ended. When you saw the flash of green here, out. Let's put that on regular candles again. Same thing. Run it down. You get these pauses, you can go and reset your trend, but as long as it stays under the 8 period, run it. As soon as it broke the 8 period, out. Easy peasy. But days like today, fan lines and trend lines are going to be a little bit more efficient at plotting those price targets with the speed that you're going to need to make really proper trades. And here we just nailed a division line between our regression and our angular resistance right to here, right in the middle, 411.85. We've got one last accumulation possible here, and we can still finish that 1 for 1 up to, we might even extend to 412 at this moment, but it doesn't give us a 1 for 1. It gives us just outside 1 for 1, so be cautious there that it might not hit this angular. In fact, it probably won't. Let me drag the box on this again. That'll be just under it, I think. See if the box will stay there this time. So I had an alert go off on Silvergate here. It hit my buy target at 150. Not so sure I want to hang that just yet, though. This is a penny stock trade and a half. If you really want to get psycho, you can go play with MULN at 10 cents a share now. Yep, didn't quite meet it. We're in the upper reach. Pull back now. Watch for test of support, 411.15 again. I'm going to get rid of this box. It's distracting. Wonder if it'll let me extend this one. All right. I'm going to get up from my chair for just a moment. Kind of doing a dance over here to let some coffee out. I'll be right back. That's better. Wow, I missed a good little pullback. Right to that support line, man. How cool is that? I love how price action does what I say it's going to do while I'm gone even. I'm not that cocky. Come on now. All right, full 1-for-1 measured move done right here. Base to regression. Now we've got a chance at accumulating a couple bars and finishing that move up to the angular. That fan line's getting stretched. It came from this route. Let me see if I can get rid of it and stick an extended line in here instead. Maybe that'll help. Not quite right. This is one of those points where you get a root and like, you know, a centimeter here means a mile over here. That looks about right. And then this is one of those V-top patterns on the 1-minute chart where we're actually very likely to come back and test this support area at 411.20, and then midpoint would be 411.50. So it might not meet this extension just yet. We might get that kind of, I used to call them split top, but they're actually just a V-top where you end up with kind of an M pattern. There it goes. Quick bear move. There's half. And that comes to our previous accumulation here on our 1-for-1. And then the full will be right back down to support. And you'll get one of two or one of three scenarios here. So it's very similar to a rounding top. They look bearish until they're not. This is the point where it's not. Typically, you'll get a pop off of a support zone. In fact, we have the 200 period coming right up above our liquidity zone to meet that. We can get accumulation here for a moment and then a continue bar right down to that 200. And oftentimes they end up forming a little wedge where if you go for a root, extend underneath the low, you'll get a support zone right in here, just short of hitting that critical support on it. And if this forms a pennant, you can accumulate that for probably about another 15-20 bars out to here. And then you may get a 1-for-1 out of this. So this becomes your 2-box trade right here. And we'll get it right to that edge. And instead of doing 2 boxes, I'll just drag this up. But I'm going to change its color first. So we'll just stick it right on top of that 200 period where we're at. And that's 1 box. And then your second box would be the extension above that, which would be up in here. If it breaks this support zone with too much force, like it is threatening to do now, we can go all the way down to the angular here. We may even resume down to our 409 pivot again, unfortunately. But 410.15 would be about the base of this thing, if it extends through here. So they look bearish until they're not, but then suddenly, while you're building it, they can still be bearish. Let's see, we're in a miniature liquidity zone here. Let me look at the 5-minute chart. Let me sit on this for a minute. wonder if there's news happening right now. It's almost 10:30. It's probably got something going on. Go run to my ticker here. There's some price adjustments happening from different analysts. Whoop-de-doo. 10:30 EIA gasoline stocks. Crude oil. Yeah, a bunch of oil refinery stuff coming out at 10:30. That's what we're waiting on. And then there's also 11:30 a 17-week bill auction that probably won't do much either. And then at noon we've got where is it? I get the old RU inflation rates, but that's not going to matter to us. That's country origin, not not anything significant. That's about it. Nothing really doing. Had a lot of money going into tech lately, and some of it came back out this morning. That's not capitalization just yet. Basically just profit taking under the estimated 1-for-1. But now we've got either a continuation for tech or a breakover for tech. So could still get the 1-for-1 up here to, about 117 out of Google. Silvergate set up a full bearish 1-for-1 right down to about $1.50 where I have my alert set. Now we got a double bottom. We might be able to get a day trade out of this up to about 158. All right, so it looks like we wicked right down into the liquidity zone. And we've got a descending channel out of this split top at first. That's unusual. This could be a diamond forming here. That's an odd spot for one. Let's just see what this next high brings. If it gives us an extension up just above this pivot and then pulls back, we could see the front edge of a range expansion pattern here. It's plain to see on the 5-second chart. Let me just start the draw.
US DOE EIA ethanol stocks 25.128 mil BBLS, minus 0.009 mil BBLS. US DOE EIA ethanol production 959 mil BBLS, minus 44 mil BBLS.
All right, let me grab a quick look at oil. I'm going to to look at refiners first, and I like ConocoPhillips. It's kind of a good litmus for general oil refiners. We're accumulating here into an extension off of our price target on the swing trade setup. That was beautiful, by the way, if I don't say so myself. Now we've got a potential to resume two different zones in this trend. And it's just as simple as, you know what, I'm just going to use pivots for these. One here and one here. So if this accumulates, we can get a 2/3 retracement and possibly 100% retracement. Not quite of the high, but of the accumulation. And then if we resume this whole thing, gosh, we could see $4 gas again this summer.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing for $4 gas with you?
Kind of bad. I mean, it hurts the consumer, which hurts discretionary expenses because people, still got to commute.
I thought it was $6 with you, $9.
Oh, on the West Coast, yeah, it got to there, but over here, I mean, we could see $4.50. If we see 6 on the East Coast, it's definitely a bad sign. But if we see steady $4 gas, it'll be okay. It won't be like harsh, but if we get up there to $5-6 gas, then look out. This is definitely not good for a strong economy when it comes to consumer spending. All right, we're starting to see the contraction side of this too early. This may just break a 1-for-1 megaphone. All right, we just hit the channel bottom right here.
I think I've got a scalping strategy that might work. I'm not making loads. I'm making like $5, $8, maybe 12, $15 a time, but it's 96% green. If I'm doing that consistently, could I take that into the real world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point, is just getting these little base hits and accumulating little base hits over and over and over again add up.
They certainly do, don't they?
It doesn't take long to, not even without even realizing, like, your account balance just doubling in a month. It happens. Just one little scalp at a time. The best part is that it keeps you engaged in short-term price action, so you can learn price action, and eventually you get enough screen time doing that, then you can start picking off the big swing trades. So like you can go and make some long-term investment decisions, and then also you can build from that and take and generate income from those long-term investments by selling options against them.
Good morning.
Morning.
What a
Morning.
fantastic day.
Heck yeah, it's been good price action. It's been a little choppy this last 15 minutes, but I think we've got a good trend forming here. Descending megaphone patterns, they love to come up and retrace really quickly to a 50%er, and 411.40 is target for that. We'll see what we get though, because we're also looking for a possible 1-for-1 accumulation about 410.15 and then resume down to the 409 pivot. I'm going to end up getting this box down here. We're at the bottom of that sucker now. And if we resume, takes us just about to that 409 pivot pretty readily. delete that one. Went and bought my stockpile of farm fresh eggs yesterday, so we're gonna have a big lunch. Got some duck eggs in it too, so. I don't know how many of you guys are into duck eggs, but I gotta say, when you make
Oh yeah.
when you make egg fried rice with duck eggs, it's
Oh, wow.
incredible.
For omelets, for quiche. Yeah.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Now, can we break this? Oh yeah. There we go.
We're in.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Woo!
Get in the box. All right, that calls for one of my favorite favorite gifts. I love this one. Get in the box. All right. So I think Casper was out house hunting this morning, so he may or may not join us on the tail end here, and I'm probably going to sign off sometime between now and 11. So this old fan line from here got us pretty close to that target. If I came across the top of this, it would put us dead on.
Hello.
Hey, speak of the devil.
Yeah, how's it going?
Pretty good. Welcome. A little choppy the last 15 minutes, but we got a nice 1-for-1 back to the bear route. We're right in the center. We could finish this move down to that 409 pivot, but we kind of tapped into a pause on this right at the angular.
What a crazy market day, man. I'm sorry. I almost I wish I hadn't missed this one.
Oh, this morning was easy. Fan line after fan line, just nailed.
Yeah. Super clean, huh?
Yeah, easy 1-for-1s all the live long day. And then we got this range expansion and things started falling apart. Looked like a V-top or a split top right here.
Yeah.
And then usually those will come back and test support and bounce. And it kind of went in an extension, came back and tested almost to the resistance point, and then broke over bearish all of a sudden. Usually these will accumulate.
Show it me again, man, just so I see it. It was
So usually when you get a split top like that, and this is where it started to kind of round off here, and then we got that pullback to support, and then a push back up to the peak.
Yeah.
Typically these will round over, test support, and then break out bullish, but this one didn't. It gave us a sign of trouble right here with this wick, and boom, broke over like crazy. So
That's
pretty rare to see that on a split top like that, but it does happen.
Yeah.
And it's a split rounding top, so.
Yeah, it looks a little bit. I mean, that first sign of trouble was breaking. That when it. Those are two big red candles right there, right after the second peak.
Well, when you think about it in candle patterns, you had two evening star patterns, one after another, and the second one was lower than the first one. That was the sign of trouble. I'm like, this might break bearish. And then before I could say it, it ripped a big red candle right down to the root, and then broke to 200.
Yeah. Did you get the futures account open now, or is it you still?
I've got to move some funds around, so I had to wait until I'm done transferring stuff out, and then I've got to let that settle in my bank, and then run it into a new account.
Oh yeah. This was a great day to future. This was like the picture perfect day for futures, huh? Yeah, I was sitting on a train all day. That's a normal one. Hey, what I did? So I just did some quick I just wanted to see what was going on. So I did a quick just drawing up, and I broke down to the 10-second chart, and I took the range from that massive candle at 8:30 when the news came out, and just did a box on that.
Right.
That was so that rip basically, and then to the first pause, and it retested off the top of that, and that seemed like a pretty good, like, what do we call it, like range or trend to mark out, you know?
It's about the first
But it
5
didn't
minute
actually-
candle.
No, not the first 5 minutes. The first 10. So right
10
at
second. Oh, okay.
8:30, the 10-second candle, when it just ripped up. It went up. What is that? Like 100 points in
Yeah,
one
that one.
candle.
Gave us some
And
range for sure.
Yeah, but it was like that was too big, huh? It almost was like didn't even like it didn't actually
Well, it
give
was
anything.
it was CPI, so I mean, it basically gave us a full range, and then a descending trend gave us a 50% retracement line, and it gave us a root line, and we were able to trade down to that root to the penny. I mean, to the
Yeah.
bottom of that candle to the penny, and it made life easy for that trade. Let's see, where was that? Yep, 410.15, right here. So then we accumulated a double bottom. We got a 1-for-1 out of that, right to the next line, and then we came back down, finished a full 1-for-1 on that whole trend up to here.
Yeah.
And then this is where things started getting weird. We're like, okay, well, we got range expansion. We got some really short-term 1-for-1s. This one here, and then back up here. And then we came back down, another 1-for-1 in expansion. I'm like, okay, well, this is where we're starting to see some issues. This is where it was a split top, and then it suddenly wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the failure right up here. This was the first evening star here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let me synchronize the crosshairs. There we go. So you can see it here. There was your for 1 minute. There was your second evening star right here. So this is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Gave us a 1-for-1, and that's typically where you get bar, spinner, and then a bar comes back down. It tests the range of that first bar almost every time. That's a quick trade, quick 1-for-1. In fact, if you wanted to count that as up and then down, you could make a reverse button trade off of that with a 1-for-1 each side, or a 2-for-1 each side, or you could get the second half on the bull side and then break over and get a 2-for-1 after a 1-for-1. However you trade it. And then the second one was pretty clean too. So we've got the 1-for-1 here. Came over, broke, and tested. Got a 1-for-1 here. And then this was in decision time. This was accumulation. This is where it kind of got me. And I'm like, well, it's testing the support line of the split top again. And then suddenly it failed. And the rejection sign was right off the 200 here. And then it went quick. And then we got a full on, almost a 3-for-1.
Yeah, that was fast though, huh?
Yeah. And then now we're
You had to
setting
be
up,
quick for that.
got our 1-for-1 out. We're at the split line. We got to bisect this. Oops, I'll just run on one of these.
And this just looks like hands off to me at the moment, right? I mean, I don't see right now. It just looks choppy.
It's choppy, but it's still tradable. And then look what we're seeing on a 1-minute chart. Beginnings of a double bottom. So we've got a pretty good shot at hitting R1 1045. 410.45 would be right at where price will likely meet the 200 as it comes down here. So it'll be right here. So if we get a 1-for-1 out of that, it'll be off of this accumulation here.
Jeremy, you're still looking at that as a double bottom. You don't see that as a in the 1 minute a bear flag, just?
It's both until it cancels. So if it's a
Until it
double
cancels one
bottom
of them.
first, your R1 is a critical target. If it breaks R1, you got your range targets all in here. And then we're back in the box, by the way. If it fails here and it doesn't go back up above R1, it can certainly still be a bear flag, and then we get the base target down here at about 409.50.
And then basically you get a measured move off the leg of the flag, right? Off the,
Right.
Yeah.
And then this can be a whole measured move as well, so we might break that 409 pivot.
Yeah. And that trend, that bearish trend there looks like a perfect measured move of the last bearish trend there. I mean, they almost match up exactly, don't they?
Right. So here to here, and then here to here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty awesome, dude. Yeah, so it was pretty clean.
And when you can
Look, mess me.
plot these 1-for-1s, in any time frame, and you just mentioned this one, I'm looking at all the sub details, and you got that one. But you can verify your signals off of that 5-second chart nonetheless. So if you're just trading a 1-minute chart, you can verify all these signals off the 5-second chart.
Yeah.
If you want to synchronize your crosshairs to do it, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I love doing that, dude. I always have my crosshairs synchronized. I think that's it's my favorite thing because a lot of times I just forget to about the bigger time frames, So I
Right.
usually have the 15-minute and the 1 hour up at the same time, just for the sake of don't forget that there's all this bigger stuff going on also.
Right. Like I could go and synchronize it with a 5-minute chart up here to boot, and then we can plot this guy here.
Mm-hmm.
The second leg up from our double bottom here. If it pulls through, you'll get, if you watch the crosshairs over here while I'm doing this, they're synchronized.
Mm-hmm.
R1 is right at the top of that previous control bar on a 5-minute chart.
Yeah.
With a wick, roughly.
Yeah.
And then your extension would be half of that. Now, let me see. Right up to the
right?
upper range, half of that up. But then you've got a control area in here for accumulation possible. So if it doesn't break out of this range bar here, that's where this becomes a bear flag. But if it does break out of this range bar, then we get the extension to the upper edge of liquidity and possibly a 1-for-1 back to previous resistance.
Yeah, man, just to say it, I don't think a lot of people know what you mean when you say R1. Just want to do the quick one.
Right.
So if anybody's listening, they got the idea.
So R1, H1, same thing. So when you see a double bottom, you got L1, which is short for low one, first low. R1, which is resistance and is the first high. So you can say H1 or R1, whichever, is right here. And then L2 is down here, or low 2. And when you get the regression off of low 2, you can trade from low 2 back to R1 because it becomes a resistance point. Or you can trade the break of R1 to the next control. So if you break R1, your control's up here. So you got 410.85 as target 1. Target 2 would be all the way up this bar to 411.30. So if this, then that. If you break here, the trade's 1-for-1. This is your trend. 1-for-1 takes you up to the top of that control. 410.85. This is the control. If you get
That's awesome, dude.
2-for-1, you get the extension off of this control bar here. You get 2 targets, and if it fails at either one of those or rejects either one of those, that's where things become a bear flag, and then you just zoom out. This becomes your trend. The break below R2 or L2 becomes your breakover point for a 1-for-1 measured move, and then you get the extension of that. You literally can just draw a box from this whole trend and repeat it right down here. It takes us right to that pivot that's weird at 408.91. That thing's been around for a while.
That was the one that keeps playing out, right? Yeah, you just said it. It's the one that it's been dancing on that thing forever, right? I mean, it's been in play for a week, or is it even? No, it's a week or something like that.
For the most part.
Or is it longer, man? Is it 2 weeks?
All the way back here from the 31st.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Huh.
So tomorrow, I may cut out a little bit early tomorrow. Making some preparations for some birthday celebrations for my wife. So.
Oh, cool! You guys are close.
Yeah, we get.
You guys should split the difference and just have a really big party.
Yeah. Well, we also like to. My wife likes to make sure my birthday's special, so I got to reciprocate and make sure her birthday's special. So. The way we do it,
she gets better presents if you split it up.
Right. And to boot. So it's like Christmas in April in my house. So it's like my birthday, then my wife's birthday, then my oldest son's birthday, all in the same month. His is on the 19th. So we usually will throw the big celebration on the 19th because he's our oldest son, and it accumulates. So that's when the big party is.
When are all your kids born, man? I mean, you only have 4, so I shouldn't say all, but it's April and the other 3.
So we got April. I've got one in the middle of the year, June 25th, or the middle of the Christmas year, as we call it. She gets 2 Christmases exactly on the split.
That's awesome.
And then I've got one in October, and the other one is in May. So
Oh, that's pretty good spread out.
yeah.
That's good. So you guys get constant festivities. I like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment in this house.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. So I'm way behind the ball on this, man. How do you think this plays out until tomorrow? I got surprised because we retraced the entire spike from the morning. I don't know if anybody else came out talking. Like I said, I was off doing other stuff, so
Yeah,
I didn't.
This was CPI.
Yeah.
So looking at yesterday, it was interesting because we got a trend day and a range day all in one. And this trend was pretty much predictable, right off of the center pivot, that 408.91. Damn near the penny. 408.93 was the low yesterday, right? Trended all the way to the top of the liquidity zone. Beautiful. And then breakover. Blam! Almost retested the whole thing. Closed right in the middle.
Yeah, what was up with that, dude? That was weird, right?
I don't remember what happened there, but it was a pretty easy trade if you caught it. I actually worked out to where I got into my call debit spreads here, and then just before this breakover, probably right about 3 o'clock, I went and bought the put side to be neutral going into CPI today. And then early this morning, I profited, just under break even for the put side. And then the call side, I was able to take and scalp out right at that retracement. So
nice.
Overall, it only made about a 30% return from a neutral position, but it was prepared for a possible full move to like 415 because I was looking left at this trend as being our 1-for-1 to 415.
Yeah.
But didn't quite make
And
it.
you almost hit it. You almost hit it, though, huh?
It's close. It was still profitable to be in neutral. And
That's
it may
awesome.
very well bounce off of this support zone here, which is about the middle of that range, and accumulate all the way up to 415. So we could still get a trend date up to 415 today. But the way things are looking, it might just stay flat in this range until it breaks that 409 pivot. So that's possible too.
Well, we have more economic news coming out this week, right? I mean, there was a ton of stuff coming out. I don't remember what it all was.
Minutes.
Yeah, we've got something coming out pretty much at
Tomorrow we
11.
have PPI.
EPI
Yeah.
tomorrow, that's what it was, yeah.
But we have FOMC at what, 1:30 today, 1:15?
Today, yeah. Oh, so the meeting minutes are coming out from
Yeah,
the meeting last month, right?
we've got
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? Yeah.
Oh, we are pushing down now.
we got a 17-week bill auction coming out 11:30. 12, we've got what is it? Nothing at 12 actually. 10-year note auction at 1. FOMC minutes at 2. Ah, there we go.
2 o'clock, yeah. That'll do something depending on how, if we sell off hard, we might. And we just cleaned up the UB from overnight and we're going to
Damn.
keep going. Wow.
Yep. See ya.
All
That's
right.
regression. Don't forget to split it.
That's going to turn into that one. So turn into, yeah. And you get the measured move off that trend, right? The
Yep.
leg,
There's like 1, 2. This is 1-for-1 already done. Now we've got
Yeah. Oh, it's
possible
already
2-for-1 down here to about 408.60.
yeah.
Yeah, let me get back on my 1-minute chart over here. We're in the bottom of the
Oh, yeah,
box.
there.
Boop.
Yeah,
Right
oh,
on.
you hit perfect, huh?
And then there's angular right here too. So
Yeah. Awesome, dude.
1-for-1 done. Possible 2-for-1 if it breaks here.
Oh, wow, man.
All right. Oh, I wonder.
What you thinking?
I wonder.
AMC, huh? Oh, wow, that hasn't been. That happened.
Well, we
Oh,
met
look
the
at that. Is that
met the
is that in play
retracement
again?
line. I might try and sell some 0-day spreads on that thing, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or not 0-day, sorry. Friday spreads, credit spreads.
Was it AMC or GameStop that had some good earnings that came out or something?
I don't
That had
really
like an
know.
earnings surprise or whatever it was. I think it was one of the two.
One of them.
I think it was GameStop actually. Sorry.
One of those. And then I'm waiting on the 19th. We have Tesla announcing earnings after hours. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And Tesla's kind of interesting, and I'll get into the chart in a moment here. I got to look at a couple things first. Sweet. Bam. All right, let me get into Tesla in a moment. I want to double check my options chain on it first. Okay, so Tesla can either be a black swan or a dud. Q1 earnings coming out soon. And I started throwing all the dope up this morning. Let me get the weekly chart out. This big boy here, on the 19th, we will be basically right at the edge of this angular right here, right? So this was the channel I traded before for 50% retracement on earnings, right? We got right to the bottom. I got long, knew it was going to hit that 50% around $200. And dude, I cleaned house on that one, right? This is the big mamma jamma. This is a weekly. So if Tesla gets loose here and we accumulate a full 1-for-1 on that break of that angular, 50% retracement line for this channel here is just under $300. Damn, son. So look at the 295, 300, May 5th, or even what's the one after that, May 19th, expiration debit spreads. You've got a pretty cheap shot at a full 1-for-1 there. We could get a play out of this, or if this thing breaks bearish, right to regression is the base target down to $100. You could technically condor that. I would at least do May 5th expiration, maybe even the May 19th expiration to cover that. Getting into that now would be a good time for a potential at a big ass move depending on Q1 earnings. Currently, there was an article that popped out where Tesla was like #1 sales in China against other EV makers. That's
Wow, dude.
pretty interesting is what they're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to hold weight for this, but I think Q1 earnings will start speaking something. And we will either A, get a big-ass bullish 1-for-1 or break down to regression. Either way, you've got a potential chance to make some killer cash or just under that $200 mark to where either side of that, the condors at those limits will be cheap. So it may be a dud, it may be a nothing burger, but at any rate, the 19th puts us right about at that angular if it continues this accumulation that it's been in. And if you think of this as just one big-ass bull flag, whoops, let me go to the 2-hour. Maybe even the daily. All right, bull flag. This is your bull flag. Okay, so if we get that 1-for-1, that $300 bill is a nice shot. If we get the breakdown, the base of that channel is right here, regression's here. So either you break down to 100 or you break down lower, whatever. We can play both sides of that. All it has to do is move. If it's a nothing burger, the spreads are so stinking cheap, it's not really much of a risk anyway. So take it or leave it. That's my analysis on it. I'm neutral. I'm going to throw a condor together and ride it out. Whatever happens, happens.
Options are super liquid on that, of course, right? I mean, you
Oh,
have
yeah.
absolutely no. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Tesla is like, I mean, there's all in that range. Those options have massive amounts of open interest and volume every day. So, I mean, there's no chance of being stuck with holding the bag on that one. And being in a neutral position on a $5 wide, risking no more than 10 cents on a $5 wide at that range, that's a lotto ticket. So, You know, this played off really good. I was super bullish right off this bounce, dude. I freaking dumped a ton of position size into that and made out like a bandit. So
Nice one.
it can happen again.
Yeah. Wow, it tripled off that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what is that? Oh, that's the one you made like 7,000% on, right? I mean, total on the even the legs that you were selling into it while you were.
Right. Overall, I
Yeah.
converted some of it into condors at the break, and then the rest of it I was running just straight debit spreads. Closed debit spreads. It was actually like 5,800% on the debit spreads that I had open, and then locked in 600% on the condor conversion, and then closed the condor position at I want to say it was 1,200%. So basically doubled the 600% lockup on the condors to boot. So that was pretty nice.
Awesome. Did you get out of the Intel position that you were in, or did you still holding on to it?
I took profit on that.
You took profit on that.
Yep, did very well on that. And then Intel, let me get that on the gas here. It's kind of got that look of a rounding top. It's still in the trend. It gave us a nice clean 1-for-1. That was my trade there. Now we're accumulating. I don't know that we're going to get a 3-legger out of this, but if we do, it's still got that 3630 target up here.
Yeah.
It's not economical to put a condor together here. And debit spreads out here are fairly high risk because the implied volatility is a little up there. I don't know that's a worthy trade either way anymore. It was a great trade at first. Now I've taken my profit out of it, done very well with it. I think I can sit on my hands with that one. I'm not so sure it's going to hit that extension. The wolf wave is still in play. It takes us to that 3630 target. It is a 50% retracement of this trend here, but it's kind of losing momentum here. Either we'll get.
I feel like we should test it when you have something that clean that like doubles up. We have 50% retracement. You have the wolf line like that, or yeah. Doesn't it feel like you should at least get the shot up to it, test, and then a quick fail maybe, or does it like?
I mean, I could, but I'm thinking I'd rather not be greedy in that. I've already done very well on it.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with sitting on my hands and letting this play out.
Yeah.
It could very well turn into a similar situation where I had a similar thing where instead of this being a trend, it was a gap, and that was with Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up taking really nice profits on the accumulation. It went tested the range, and then it ended up closing the gap anyway. But I was not wanting to be greedy for that full gap close. So kind of similar. I'm okay because I've already made lots of profit on it. Not too, disheartened about missing out. And that's the thing that'll get you is that fear of missing out. So you get greedy like that,
I'm also thinking about this with the Elliott waves, that it's like the three-leg bullish waves. So
Right.
it's like we still have the third one to go for and get it. I don't know. I don't know if that's how you trade it, actually. I mean, like, I'm not an Elliott wave trader, so I don't know.
Well,
I'm just looking into it.
you could always draw a box. So we've got, there's your one move. And if we take that and drag it over here across the resistance point,
Matches up perfect.
It's still got that leg. So you could still very well get a full 1-for-1 out of this. But if you look at it, the pullback with the range, it's already done it. So
Yeah.
you don't
know. It's not a high probability bet at this point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like it's better to avoid FOMO on that one, even though it's still got a good shot at hitting that 50% retracement. I can see that there's a lot of capital rotating out of tech right now as we speak. So
Yeah.
Hell, Bitcoin hit that 30,000, so a lot of that money went into Bitcoin. So it's kind of iffy.
Hey, my man.
Hey, yeah.
Hello there.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the Bitcoin 30,000. I'm looking for this 28.5 area kind of to hold as like a secondary support if it does break.
Yeah, I could very easily run that. Long time no speak, man. How you been?
Good, man. I've been good. Just been doing some other stuff, like been doing some OTC stuff. Like just been working with Grapefruit GPFT.
Hmm.
It you had some news the other day. It's the one that provides updates on like acquisitions and stuff like that.
Right.
It's in the news. Some one of the bots posted it, and I was like, "Oh, nice."
Very cool.
Oh, hey, Alex, man. I didn't realize it was you.
Yeah.
How's
I
it
know,
going,
it's
man?
been a long time.
Long
Yeah.
time. I'm not. I've never really been into OTC stuff, but I know that there's some serious trades to be had there. I have been known to play a few 10-cent penny stocks for quick 10% returns and plus.
This one, I got in at 0.0024 the other day. I was looking for the 0.003 break and hold, and we hit like 0.0056 today.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's like trading
Awesome, dude.
what's it called? SHIB. 5 zeros and a 1, and it's like, oh, I went to 4
Right.
zeros and a 1. Hell yeah.
I liked hearing. I was watching Chat with Traders listening to the Chat with Traders on Spotify, and one of these guys who was trading with Tim Sykes, one of his like millionaire traders, who basically only trades the OTC market.
Right.
And the interviewer asked him, "So why do you trade the OTC market?" And he said, "You know what, man? It's just less manipulated than Nasdaq."
Yeah.
that's awesome, man.
And-
you know what I mean?
Me, like, I'm over here, like, I look for those 10-cent stocks that trade only on the NASDAQ, and, like, I can consistently make 10% off those pretty easy. Sometimes you get a quick 100% return on those, but they're manipulated as hell. The idea is that you can literally just use that method of looking left, finding control zones, marking pivots, trade from one to the other. And then you go take that same analysis to OTC, and suddenly your percentage of actual profitable trades goes up because there's not a lot of institutes playing with OTC out there. I don't think there's any.
Yeah.
So it's purely driven by retail trading market. So yeah,
And another thing about OTC is they often promote, and you can look when they're about to promote as well. And I've done some promoting and stuff, or like it's stock awareness or whatever they call it,
right.
Stock
Is that what they call it these
because,
days?
Dump doesn't sound good, right?
Hey, if it's out there and it's being squawked about, dude, there's a lot of eyes on it. You know it's going to move. And if it's all
Yeah.
retail, usually you can pick off every price target and nail them all day
Yeah.
long. And speaking of Bitcoin here, that was a clean 1-for-1. Very nice moves. I've traded this channel. This is where I got in trouble with trading those nano futures on that damn thing. But at any rate, no, actually that was this. Yeah. But at any rate, we came through liquidity. We've split off a nice 1-for-1. The extension up here is like 32,164 is where I had it. And all that does is gives you 50% of this trend here, right to the number. And essentially, if you want to look back even further on a weekly chart, this whole guy here, this is your next target. So if we break this with some force, this 32,000 area, we could easily see a push to 42,000.
I agree with you, especially with the dollar decreasing too.
Yeah, and that dollar's kind of been, well, for lack of a better word, beat to death. Fiat currency is fiat currency is fiat currency. I don't care if it's the almighty dollar.
I don't know what it's doing right now. What is it doing today?
We all go to currency hell eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't look at DXY on here, but I'll look at UUP. It gives you a good idea. There's your UUP weekly. Descending trend. We made a 50% retracement of this, broke over. Can it be a double bottom and inflate some more? Sure can, but at this point, this is looking a little bit more like a bear flag. I want to see what happens when UUP hits about 28.50. If it hits that again and rejects there, this gives us a bearish 1-for-1 on the dollar, right down to $25. So
Which
It's
would
a
be pretty
s-
insane, actually.
it's a slow
that would be-
grinder.
Uh,
I used to use this as a hedge against my short positions. Like if I was swing trading short positions on SPY, for instance, during its decline, I would go and sell credit spreads at the money on UUP to cover. So like I would sell 50-cent wides for like 49 cents and sit on them in the money. And then when they break over and they give me 100% of the return or the 100% of the spread, I would kill it, but it would be basically hedging my short bets against SPY when doing so. So when the dollar comes down, SPY would go up. When the dollar would go up, SPY would go down. So it's kind of easy to have that as a hedge. But now I don't know what the hell happened. All of a sudden institutions are wise to it and they make sure the spreads are too wide to do that with. And also they're very quick to assign you in the money on those anymore. So it's like, well, there went that idea. But you could still swing trade it on debit spreads.
Oh.
So it's like you could go and hedge with a debit spread rather than a credit spread on that and do just fine. So it's slow though. You got to have many weeks of time on those contracts. Like right now, I'd probably be looking at June contracts to swing trade debit spreads if I was going to, because it's that slow.
I wouldn't want to bet on anything in the dollar right now. I have no idea there's so much stuff that could come out, you know?
Yeah, it's in flux, dude. Let it do its thing. Leave it alone.
Yeah. All right, man. I need to jump off and throw some dinner to my kids. I'll speak to you tomorrow. If you're gonna jump off earlier, I'll cover. I'll cover so we can go a bit later.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try and get on at Power Hour today, but I've got some preparation to do for making my wife's birthday special. So
yeah,
I'll see what I can come up with.
All right, Alex. Nice talking to you again, man.
Hey, man, as well. I'll be in here more often.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff, man.
And you're welcome. You can join our stream anytime, dude. You're always welcome here, brother.
Finally got a schedule that's good. I was just moved back to Manhattan.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
And that was a terrible decision logistically. I was just like thinking like, I've moved stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Terrible. I forgot about parking.
Oh. I bet you're gonna love it, man. Manhattan seems like a good place to be.
That in Iowa. That's where the other place I live. So fixed it up.
Yeah.
Dude, we got a full...
All right, you guys. Talk to you later. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Speak soon, man.
Take care.
I just got a full 1-for-1 bear move out of SPY. Broke the 409 pivot. We got another box within the box here, so to speak. And that one comes from our 2-hour chart. It is... Where is that wick? We've been finding some price targets on SPY that are just freaking methodical lately, dude. There it is, this wick here. We can make a full move out of that, but note one thing on the 2-hour chart that's evident. The bar on this control candle, this has doubled it. So we've got a bearish 1-for-1 complete. If we're going to bounce, it will bounce here. And that gave us... We got 1-for-1 from the peak right to here. That's been 1-for-1, and then we got the 1-for-1 here. If we're going to bounce, this is likely where it'll be. Back to a 1-minute chart. And I guess for now I can just keep this up as the 5-second, the 1-minute, and the 5-minute on SPY. Just kind of be able to mark the dope throughout the day, whether I'm invoice or not. And then I'm also going to look at another regional bank that's kind of plateaued on the base. And I say this very stringently because it's risky as hell and manipulated to the gills. Kind of watch the litmus on FRC here, this First Republic Bank. And it is a dumpster fire of a sell-off, right? But at some point, these will accumulate for days and days and days. And when they reach a nexus or a convergence of two key trend lines, they tend to give you that dead cat bounce. And it's pretty easy to look left and spot all your control zones for targets on a dead cat bounce. It's getting damn close. Let me zoom in on this. We just passed the crossing point on the 30-minute chart. And now we're into the expanding side of it, so this can get interesting from here. Either it gives us a really quick bear rip down to like what, 0? If it delist, I mean a 1-for-1 would put it down here. Jeez. Or if it accumulates for a dead cat bounce here, you could get a quick push back up to a key control area, and that's why I always mark them out with a bunch of pivot lines. And 1880 from, you know, down here around 13, that'd be a pretty sweet trade. So we'll watch this thing like it's a penny stock and watch for volatility coming soon after this accumulation is getting to be the quiet before the storm, so to speak. And you can see it's been there before. Here, you get this accumulation here, and all of a sudden, it's bam, a quick short squeeze. That's the kind of stuff we look for. That's one dead cat, two dead cat. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. Here's where I'm expecting another dead cat. This set of lines here actually comes from a diamond pattern that happened yesterday, so it was kind of interesting to see that. And the diamond pattern has held true with predicting volatility and range for a long time now on SPY. And I've got it right here. It's rough, but you can see it a little better when I zoom in. It set up the upper range for yesterday's move. Once we broke support, remember I always say when price comes out of the diamond side and you get that range between the upper and lower channel, price does not like to stay there long. It makes very short work of moving from one side to the other. And we just about got down to the base of this. So if we set up a reversal here, we could easily see a quick run back up to like 1460. So just kind of be ready for some volatility to start happening on this thing. And we could very well get a nice dead cat all the way up to like 16 and 18 on the key pivot areas. So there's 16 and there's 1880 somewhere in there. So just be aware that this is like every other penny stock we've scalped in history. Same moves. Always expect volatility after a division of key trend zones, and that diamond was plain as day yesterday. So be nimble. And regional banks in general will tend to kind of follow this. Particularly, I was also looking at Silvergate, which is another dumpster fire. That had a hell of a lot longer of a descending trend. And we've kind of hit the angular resistance zone here on this freaking massive descending wedge. All right, this thing is gargantuan. And if this, then that, you get a break of that wedge, you've got shots at retracement. I mean, you got $20 here, you've got $58 here, you've got $100 here. Who the hell knows what'll happen to this thing, but it'll either be an opportunity or a failure. And at $1.50 a share, that's some stinking low risk for some potential big moves. So probably see this. Right here is that angular. We're outside of it, so kind of watch for those pushes. It can very easily do some stuff here. And it's kind of setting up where I think, what was it, 78% of the float was short. So if a short squeeze happens, we're likely to see it very, very soon. So just a couple of volatile regional bank type things. This is not technically a regional bank. They're kind of more, but same. We'll wait and see what happens with it. There is a penny stock in the dumpster fire range that is in the electric vehicle marketplace. These guys have been absolute trash for a long time. But we've got a bearish 1-for-1 out of the way and a bounce off the bottom here. It's around that 10-cent mark. Looking at the daily, that's a very long bearish trend. Eventually they come to a head and find a reversal for a quick short squeeze. And that could target about 22 cents. So you can see a quick 100% return out of that if you look at this as a rounding bottom here. So it's got that look. So if you're into penny stocks, that's pretty easy to see that range. If that thing short squeezes, and it's also like 70 or 80% short, pretty easy target for a short squeeze. Kind of watch that. We've got a double bottom to boot on the daily chart. 2-hour chart kind of accentuates it a little bit more. L1, R1, L2. Same. Half the move is about 15 cents. Okay. 20 cents, no problem. Just be aware that that can be a quick short squeeze setting up. I know that if they pop news, it'll definitely bounce. They're putting everything they have into a solid state polymer battery development. Maybe they make it, maybe they don't. Who knows? But if they do, it'll be big. News-wise, doesn't matter to me. The chart says watch for a short squeeze soon. So I'm going to be watching for a short squeeze soon. With that, I am out. I'm going to go eat some lunch before the market eats it for me. And in the meantime, eyes on SPY. We're going to have some fun today. There's our push. That's that bounce we were expecting. We're back in the box. Watch for follow through. First halfway at about 409.60. The rest of it could be about 410.15 and so on. A 1-for-1 retracement to the 50% would put us at 10.15 anyway. So
See you later, alligator.
see you later. Try not to have too much fun out there, but definitely watch for some big moves in SPY soon too. So
I'm done for the day. I'm over 3,000 for the day, so
hey, that's a good
I
day
want
to
to give
me.
it back. I'll tune in for the FOMC and see if there's something that's just
Right. Yeah. I mean, who knows? That could be another
it
big
might
ass
be a
bar.
converter after all this movement, so we'll see.
Right. And I didn't see anything that resembled a diamond in this mix either, so we didn't have a very good range definition other than liquidity zones and 1-for-1s, so it could very well be a nothing burger. I would definitely agree with that statement. In the meantime, I'll keep the charts kind of centered. You know, hit the reset chart button so we can keep it tracked in the center. And if I pop in to draw on it, I may not be in voice all day, but I'll pop in to draw on it. So if you keep it running in your background, you can kind of see what I'm thinking with my trend lines and so forth. Might help.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Appreciate you coming back and saying hi, man. Been a while.
Yeah, I kind of like retired for like a year. I just didn't do much.
And sometimes you gotta take a break, and if it takes a year, so be it.
It was great. I was just doing everything. I managed an art. I started an art gallery for a little bit.
Sweet.
that was wild.
That's pretty awesome. I've been kind of taking a foray into collectibles lately, so I've been kind of playing with that stuff too.
Very cool. Nice.
Yeah, I took advantage of the whole Walking Dead collectible thing, and got a lot of stuff that's kind of accumulating some value that I'm moving and shaking.
Nice.
Lots of fun stuff. My wife dragged me into it, and then my sister dragged me into it too. So
Hey, as long as the wife's okay with it, you're good.
exactly, most of those collectibles are hers. I'm just, I'm able to give the approval of, yeah, that's a good investment, or oh, that won't be worth shit. It's like gotta get the best of both. Anyway, if you guys are joined us on YouTube, we're signing off, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. I'll be a bit brief tomorrow, so I won't be hanging around too long. Like I said, I got to get some preparations done for the birthday party celebrations, and make it special. All right.